In the hush of a packed arena in Moscow in 1980, the spotlight pierced the air and found her, young, compact, impossibly poised, while every dream she had ever dared flickered into sheer possibility. Her name was Maxi Gnauck, and when she stepped onto the uneven bars for the final, the world held its breath. The chalk dust floated in halos beneath the lights. The sound of her bare feet on the springboard echoed like a heartbeat in slow motion. Then she rose, arms extended, legs flicking through the air in a blur, and executed a routine so precise, so fearless, that the audience felt time pause. She landed, bent her knees, looked to the judges, and exhaled a quiet confidence that spoke of every early morning, every drop of sweat, every mindset forged in fire. The cheers erupted, the echo of a champion, and in that moment, she transformed from a girl from East Berlin into a legend. And yet, the story of Maxi is far more than a single defining moment. In the chapters that follow, we will journey with her from her childhood in East Berlin, where a sporting spark first ignited, into the intense world of East German gymnastics, where training was as much about discipline as it was about artistry. We will feel the thrill of her breakthroughs and the frustration of her setbacks. We will enter the gym where she invented elements, where she became the queen of bars, and explore the inner voice that told her one more repetition, one more fix, one more perfect line. We will watch her smile with teammates, wipe tears after a fall, hear the thud of her landing, the hush before a routine, the roar after. We'll travel through her greatest victories, world championships, European triumphs, and Olympic glory, and through her hard choices, the injuries, the limits of a politically divided sports system, the day she decided to retire, and the next day, when life off the mat challenged her in ways no medal ever could. And at the end, we'll meet the coach, mentor, woman she became, and how that spark she carried as a child continues to light up those who follow. Ready? Let's begin. The gray dawn of October 10, 1964 dawned over East Berlin as the hustle of the city stirred. In a modest flat, her parents held their newborn daughter and laughed. She had been expecting a boy, a Max, but here was a girl, and they simply added an I and named her Maxi. Tiny, alert, fierce in her expression even then, she seemed to radiate a quiet tenacity. As a child, she darted around the flat, full of energy, impossible to corral for long. When she was 5, her mother took her to a local gymnastics center. The ring of chalk, the grip of a low bar, the echo of small feet in silent gym. All of it captivated her. She was only just beginning a journey none could yet imagine. By age 8, she had already claimed her first medals at the Kreispartakiadi. Her grin after the podium, her eyes shining, told a story far bigger than a typical childhood win. At 9, she was recruited by the elite club SC Dynamo Berlin, under coach Jürgen Heritz, and the real work began. Early mornings, strength drills, balancing beams wobbling beneath her feet. Every repetition marked her growth. Coach Heritz saw in her not only talent but a rare maturity, the ability to listen, to absorb correction, to strive for something almost impossible. Training in East Germany in the 1970s was a world of discipline. The gym reeked faintly of rubber mat and chalk dust. Maxi would arrive in a leotard, the color shifting under the stark lights, her hair tightly braided so it wouldn't fall across her vision mid-move. She ran drills for hours, tumbling down the floor, twisting, flipping, landing. She practiced on uneven bars again and again. Kip, cast, transition, free hip, hecht over, flyaway. The clapping of the bar, the gut-wrenching moment as she reached high for a release move, the board beneath her feet as she pushed off, the sensory tapestry of her gym life. She embraced it all. There were hobbies beyond the gym too. As a child, Maxi loved to bike around the neighborhood, feel the wind in her face, hear the city's hum. She had a playful side, dancing to music in the flat, flicking through magazines with images of faraway competitions, imagining herself in dazzling light. She was quiet at times, reflective, pulling on a jump rope in one room while her mind sketched next routines. But she also laughed freely with teammates, sharing jokes, sharing the little camaraderie that made the grind endurable. Her first international successes came early. At the 1979 World Championships in Fort Worth, Texas, She stepped onto the global stage and earned silver in the all-around and gold on uneven bars. The red lights of the arena, the filled stands, the tingle of seeing the American crowd witness the girl from East Berlin, it spurred her on. She realized, this is real. She could belong at this level. The medal around her neck weighed just a little, but the pride in her heart weighed far more. The 1980 Moscow Olympics were apotheosis. Maxi entered not simply as a competitor, but as a force. The obligations from her country, the pressure of representing East Germany, the expectations, they all converged in one linear path, her routine. In the all-around final, she soared through vault, bars, beam, and floor. After 2 rotations, she was leading. The audience sat forward, the judges' faces stoic. Then, on vault, she landed but wobbled, and her score dipped. The gold slipped to another, but she didn't crumble. She smiled at her friend and teammate, took a breath, and stepped onto the uneven bars with fire in her eyes. There, she performed flawlessly. Transitions, handstands, release moves, a big flyaway, the kind of controlled power that demanded attention. The crowd erupted in cheers, the announcer's voice cracking with excitement. When the score lit up, the confirmation. Gold. She had done it. Then, 2 bronze medals followed, and the team bronze. In the locker room later, she sat quietly, the weight of it all sinking in, the medal warm against her chest. Inside, she thought, if I can do this once, I can do it again. But life is never without challenge. The years that followed weren't just victories, they were fights. In 1981, at the World Championships in Moscow, she was poised to dominate all events. She fell in qualifying on floor, lost a chance at the all-around, but turned around and won gold on vault, bars, and beam. It was proof. Setbacks don't define you. Resilience does. In 1982, she underwent ankle surgery, a painful hiatus. The gym felt alien when she returned. Muscles remembered, but fear lingered in the edges. Yet she pushed through. Additional rehab, extra drills, broken aspirations. Until 1983, she came back strong, dislocated her elbow, and suffered a bone chip during training, and still secured gold again on bars at the World Championships in Budapest, even earning a perfect 10.0. During that time, her personal interior world shifted. In the quiet of early morning, she would whisper to herself, "One more flight, one more hold, stick the landing." She would feel her heart pounding in the gym's echoing quiet, her breath each exhale in rhythm with the jump. The smell of chalk, the stretch of her muscles, the sound of the bar swinging beneath her hands, all of it became intimately familiar. Off the mat, she missed normal teen years. Dates, late-night movies, carefree walks. Her life was gym, sleep, repeat. But she didn't complain. She believed deeply in the promise of what she could become. Crowds became part of her story. At European Championships, thousands of fans leaned forward to see the bars queen. She walked into arenas under bright lights, greeted by the hush of expectation, then the roar when she performed. The applause at the end of her routine felt like an embrace. In her mind, she heard the cheers as a promise. "We believe in you." And she, every time, sought to fulfill that belief. Her training routines during peak years were monstrous. 5 to 6 hours a day. Morning sessions, strength and conditioning, tumbling, sprints, plyometrics. Midday, apparatus training, bars, beam, vault. Afternoon, floor choreography, flexibility, cool down. Evenings, visualization and stretching, mental rehearsal. On days off, she rarely truly rested. She might go swimming or take a light bike ride, but always with a purpose. The coach's whistle, the countdown from 10, the repetition until exhaustion. She accepted it willingly. She lived for that union of mind and body in harmonic rhythm, but she wasn't immune to weariness. There were nights when she sat alone in her room, staring at a medal case, thinking of what's next. She wondered, is this all? The monotony of repetition weighed her. Tears came when she injured herself, when she lost a final by a sliver, when the expectations seemed heavier than her body. Yet each time she looked in the mirror and told herself, "I'm still here. I still rise." By 1985, after sweeping European titles again, She faced the inevitable. Body battered. Sport evolving. Youth advancing. In April 1986, at only 21 years old, she announced her retirement. The gym where she once flew like a bird suddenly felt like a museum of what was, rather than what could be. She studied coaching at the University of Leipzig, eager to pass the torch. But life had another test. In 1988, while working at a summer camp near the Baltic Sea, she slid down a water slide, broke her C5 vertebra, and nearly became paralyzed. 3 of her vertebrae required reinforcement with a metal plate. The hospital room, the white walls, the sterile smell, they replaced chalk dust and cheering crowds. She lay flat, her body still, the world outside alive but distant. She could have resigned to tragedy. Instead, she whispered to herself, "This is not the end." She healed, slowly, painfully, and the spark in her eyes never dimmed. In the years after, Maxi shifted from athlete to coach. She traveled, short stints in South Africa and Great Britain in 1990, and then settled in Germany, at the Harksheide Gymnastics Center in Norderstedt, from 1993 to 2004, becoming a mentor and leader. From 2005, she worked at the Artistic and Apparatus Gymnastics Center in Liestal, Switzerland. Her presence in the gym now sank deep. She was no longer the one flying through aerials, but the one steady on the ground, guiding, correcting, inspiring. She understood better than anyone the quiet terror of bombing a routine, the sense of triumph in nailing one. She told her young gymnasts, "I've been there, I've landed, I've fallen. Either way, you keep rising." Her legacy is immense. The uneven bars routine she crafted became a benchmark. She is widely considered one of the greatest in that event, undefeated in major finals on bars for years. In 2000, she became the first German gymnast inducted into the International Gymnastics Hall of Fame. Her name lives not just in medals, but in the lexicon of the sport, in the lives she touched, in the difference she made. Through all this, her lifestyle remained grounded. Maxi enjoyed simple pleasures: coffee with a teammate, a bike ride through the Swiss countryside, laughing over old competition stories. She valued rest and reflection. She valued connection. She knew the gym was a world, but life outside the gym was worth living too. Her personal interests included music, listening to records after a tough session, and reading biographies of other athletes, drawing inspiration from the past even as she defined the future. When you think of a gymnast flying through space, twisting, landing, embodying human potential, you think of Maxi Gnauck. Not only because she achieved more than most, but because she did so with grace, resilience, and heart. She showed us that greatness comes not just from talent, but from embracing failure, rising again, and choosing to keep both feet planted, even as the body soars. So if you imagine that night in Moscow, the roar of the crowd, the flush of triumph, you also imagine the 9-year-old in Berlin working bars, the scarred body recovering in a hospital, the coach shaping new champions. One continuous story, one legacy. And if today you are watching this on your screen, know this: the same fire that burned in her can burn in you. The same tenacity, the same boldness. Because the path to greatness is paved not by comfort, but by persistence. Thanks for staying with me through the journey of Maxi Gnauck. If you felt inspired, if your heart stirred at her story, I invite you to hit that like button, share this video with someone who needs the spark, and subscribe to our channel Behind the Medal for more stories of triumph, grit, and heart. Your support means the world, and together, we'll uncover more heroes beyond the medals.